Ah, happy Thursday. Some people are pissed. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Roots from elections, Austin Storm, or Austin Winter Storms 2023 power outages. And it keeps on getting better and better and better while everybody's passing the blame. Austin Energy sucks. Austin Energy didn't do its job by making sure vegetation wasn't clear from power lines, snapping power lines, causing power outages. Now, keep in mind, what we had was weather related. So, as reasonable people, we expect some power outages here and there due to the fact that's how weather works. But I'm being told the majority of the power outages here in Austin, Texas was due to tree limbs. Because here in Texas, we love our trees. Well, especially in Austin, Texas. We love our trees. We got to do everything to preserve our trees. We have a heritage law in effect, or ordinance in law, where you just can't cut down trees willy-nilly, and that's all good and gravy. We definitely do need those type of ordinance because we got to preserve our trees because trees give us shade when we have 100-plus degree weather. But everybody's kind of passing the buck. Austin Energy's passing the buck on to the city council, saying we're bound by the city council's rules and regulations, even though the current members didn't vote for that. Heard on the radio, Kelly McKenzie, was talking about some V-shaped protocol for trees to prevent them from hitting power lines, which they still hit power lines. Now, keep in mind, just because we could clear tree brush or trees from the power lines, they grow anywhere between 20 to 30 feet, some even up to 50 feet. And when you have an ice storm, they tend to break. I'm over here trying to look at my oak tree in the backyard to figure out where this limb came from. And I don't have the foggiest clue where it came from. But that's the only damage I had to the tree. I mean, yeah, the branches were almost hitting the ground because of the weight that the ice accumulated on them. But yeah, I mean, most of this is Austin Energy and some of it's the city council. But let's go ahead and figure out who. See, I was hoping to find some information about this where Austin Energy just gives 110 million for pet projects, which happens just about every year. It doesn't really matter. Maybe they need to change that. Maybe we don't need pet projects. Austin Energy is a publicly owned utility providing electrical power to the city of Austin and surrounding areas. When they say publicly owned, the city of Austin owns Austin Energy. So by de facto, the city council is to be blamed here because the city of Austin owns Austin Energy. And to the city of providing electrical power to the city of Austin and surrounding areas, established in 1895. The utility of the Department of the City of Austin returns its profit to the general fund. So all profits go to this general fund that finances pet projects like buying hotels over the asking price and bankrupting Austin, encouraging the homeless people to come here in masses because we're going to give them free crap. Or defunding the police and calling I-35 racist because it divides East Austin with the regular Austin. It makes no sense, but it gets people riled up and it gets people voting. In other city services, Austin Energy is in the United States' 7th largest public utility, serving more than 500,000 customers and more than 1 million residents as of 2019, within the service area of 437 square miles, including Austin, Travis County, and a small portion of Williamson County. It kind of breaks down on how it gets its energy. But this is a government-owned utility. This is what someone will consider a socialistic entity because it's the government controls the means of production, and this means that the city of Austin owns the production of energy, which sells it to its residents at a really high price because it's making a crap ton of profits. But at the same time, the city of Austin dictates who they are. Now, this is the bout, but the company, Austin Energy, is more than an electric company where, yeah, whatever. Working around, yeah, you know, I don't really care about all that. But we're going to go Fox 7 Austin. You know, maybe if Fox 7 Austin, or yeah, Fox 7 Austin was an honest media company, we would have better leadership. It's not just Fox 7 Austin, it's the KVU and whatever the other local news channels. The government pays all these companies, and they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. So they go to bat for the status quo, leaving us with V-shaped trees that take out half of our power. Maybe if you were a little rough on Mayor Adler, a little rough on Leslie Poole and Greg Kazar and Vanessa Fuentes and all the others, maybe we could actually have an honest debate about politics in Austin to where maybe someone that's new, maybe that someone has a different thought process and actual leadership skills stand a chance of getting elected instead of you fluffing them up. Well, guess what? Now we have power outages, we have high crime, we have a homeless issue that's out of control, all thanks to these media companies playing cover for the local politicians that are elected. It's disgusting. But anyways, that's done with my little tangent because this makes me mad. I was without power for a day or half a day. And 2 years ago, I was without power for 5 days. If it wasn't for the grace of having family that actually had power, I would be freezing the 2 years ago. Local utility crews are now cleaning up the mess that broke Austin's local grid power grid. Those are the real heroes. The local utility crews that are fixing all the issues, replacing power lines, replacing transformers and all that stuff. They are the unsung hero. They are not to be blamed here. The leadership is to be blamed. You can have the best employee or the best team out there, but if you don't utilize them, they're useless. But yet, these people went out there when it was freezing and still out there to this day, putting their life on the line to make sure that we have power. So the crews that you see out there repairing the electrical grid, those are the heroes. The people running them, not so much. With teams from other cities coming to help restore power, Jackie Sargent, the general manager of Austin Energy, was confident to make this prediction. But guess what? They're about to make a press conference here in about less than an hour to tell us that we don't know when we're going to get 100% or 80%. They don't know. I mean, the issue is very complicated because it's not as simple that you go send crews out and they do their little dance and get it up and running. Sometimes you have issues down the road, unforeseen issues that they didn't know about because the power was out. So it's going to be the hard truth. At this point, because of forecast rising temperatures, we're expected to be wrapping up the major restoration efforts by Friday evening, says Sargent. Thursday afternoon, the Energy backtracked and says it's unclear when power will be fully restored. Circuit breaks lit up the night sky during the ice storm, and the estimated 265,000 Energy customers lost power, including myself. I was planning on doing a stream yesterday morning. Can't do a streaming without power. During the Thursday morning thaw, more tree limbs fell, triggering more outage than initially. 113,000 were reconnected. You know, as you get power on, you know, you don't notice that tree limb that's about to crack because it's under the weight. And once it actually thaws, it snaps back up, it flings the branch into the power line, causing it to go down. These are understandable. I mean, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear city officials saying, we don't know when we're going to get back up, but we're working hard on it. While people are still without power. I'm still waiting for the boil notice. During the briefing, Sargent was asked why lanes break from trees, the recurring problem for Austin, considering the utility has a tree trimming program. She blamed the city environmental policies and property owners. So people like me should be trimming my trees, is what she's saying. Over the past several years, we have increased our budget and focus on tree trims, or trim trees. We could really use the help in that area with getting our residents to understand the importance of vegetation management to allow our crews in to get vegetarian management done. We can always be better, but in this circumstance, I don't know what you saw when you were driving down this morning, but the amount of the weight that has accumulated on the vegetarian is probably historically extreme, and that has caused significant challenges for us, said Sargent. Sargent later provided more details on why the utility vegetarian removal program has not been able to remove this recurring problem. So we have policies that were given to us that direct our vegetarian management programs because we want to preserve the beauty of urban canopy that we have here, and often only allowed to do V cuts for certain portions of the line, so the trees that underlines and weakens the trees. So in the cases like this that actually adds potential problems, maybe the city needs to revisit the V program. We'll be working with our policymakers to help with that, but certainly helping us educate the community of the importance that we need for that going to be something that we appreciate your help with, said Sargent. That was a really weird sentence. Anyways, Sargent also blamed weather forecasts, claiming that their understanding of the ice communication would not be this bad. Cop out. The cop out answer. Just take ownership of it. Just like the mayor should take ownership of it. Didn't expect it to be that bad, you know? Sounds like a trash truck. Anyways, locations are determined by the size of the object. Wait. Also blame the forecast, claiming that their understanding of the ice communication will not be this bad. Well, you know, weather's kind of unpredictable. As much we try to predict it, there's some things that you just cannot predict. Austin Energy also defended how they picked up areas to get back on first, locations determined by the size of the outage. Mayor Kirk Watson, during the briefing, did indicate mistakes were made and how the crisis was managed. That's an understatement of the year if I ever heard one. Mistakes were made. Well, you know, hopefully we learn from those mistakes. Hopefully, as we get back on with our life and as power to restore, we take a hard look at some of the policies like cutting V shapes into trees, causing them to be more weak. And we address those issues one by one, and we fix the mistakes. We learn from the mistakes. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I also want to acknowledge that, like many of our residents, I've been frustrated. I've been frustrated with the lack of power in our homes, including mine. I've been frustrated and disappointed in communication, and I feel like it should have been better with the people of the city. A press conference like this to answer questions should have happened before now, says Mayor Watson. Mayor Watson promises changes will be made, but that work will begin after the crisis is over. Yes, address the crisis. I agree with that. Address the crisis because we want the crisis to be over. And once the crisis are over, we're licking our wounds. Then we can address what went wrong, what went right, and how we could be better. Because I got a feeling that ice storms are going to be the future of Austin, Texas. And we're going to have to learn to deal with cold weather. We're going to have to deal with the snap freezes that happen periodically more often, mixed with water and participation. Because most of the time we go in the 20s. Sometimes we're in the 20s for several days. Most of the time it's dry. It's a dry winter when it gets down to those temperatures. But sometimes we got moisture in the air. And when you got moisture in the air mixed with freezing weather, it tends to either snow, sleet, or ice trees over. So this is something that the city's going to have to address, and then hopefully they address it. Because we can't go year after year with this crap, because something's going to have to change. Either we got to start voting for more conservative base members that are willing to take on these issues to actually tell residents that they can't have their beautiful oak tree because it's near a power line. It has to come down. I mean, nobody wants to tell someone that their heritage tree has to come down. But sometimes you gotta make those tough decisions. That being said, that is my video, and I feel sorry for the people that don't have power. Hopefully they get the power back on quickly. Hopefully weekend comes, we can enjoy it as we clean up the debris. I don't know, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Who's to blame? I see people on Twitter blaming Governor Abbott, saying he needs to declare a national emergency, calling the National Guard because our city can't handle it. You know, there's a time and place for the National Guard. I don't think this is it. But the mayor definitely has some blame, but he's new, so he's coming into a mess. The city council has some blame. Austin Energy definitely has the lion's share of the blame. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. That is my video, so hopefully you have a warm, dry evening, morning, or whenever you watch this.